Erev Tov Rabotai, we are continuing with our Mishna Yomi Masechet Makkot. We are up to Perek Gimel Mishnah Dalet. Today's Mishnayot should be Le'ilui Nishmat, Neria ben Svetlana Ranbayev, Eliyahu ben Burcha Israelov, Chana bat Miriam, Sason ben Raya, and Yehoshua ben Shifra, Menuchatam beGan Eden, Amen, and Le'avdi ben Chaim leChaim, v'derefua shelemav, Daniel Shalom ben Rosa, B'tor Shah Chulei Israel, and Achlama Mera, Binyamin, Or Tzion Chai ben Dvorah. The Torah states in the book of Dvarim, chapter 22, verses 6 and 7, that if a person finds a mother bird nesting on her young birds or eggs, he may not take the mother bird while she is still with her young. If he wants to take the young birds or eggs, he must send away the mother, and only then may he take them. This is known as Shiluach HaKen. The Mishnah cites a dispute whether a person who transgresses this law is given Malkut lashes. Hanotel em al habanim. If someone takes a mother bird while she is on her young birds or eggs, Rabbi Yehuda says, Lo keveno mishaleach, he receives malkut and he does not have to send the mother bird away. Once he has sinned and taken the mother while she was on her young, he no longer has a mitzvah to send her away. But the sages say, even though he has already transgressed the prohibition, mishaleach veno lokeh, he must send away the mother bird, and he does not receive malkut for having taken the mother while she was on her young. The Rav does tell us that Alayev follows the opinion of the Chachamim. The sages explain their ruling based on a general rule about Torah prohibitions. This is the rule. Kol mitzvah lo taseh sheyesh ba kumaseh. If any prohibition has a positive mitzvah to correct it, meaning the Torah gives a specific commandment to perform if a person violates a prohibition, en chayvin aleh, a person is not liable to receive malkut for transgressing that prohibition. Such a prohibition is known as a prohibition that is corrected by a commandment, alav shenitak said. By performing the prescribed commandment, he corrects the transgression and is not given malkut for it. So here, although the Torah forbids a person to take a mother bird who is with her young, it states that if he does so, he must now send away the mother. The Torah states in the book of Dvarim, chapter 22, verses 6 through 7, you may not take the mother while she is on the young birds, you must surely send away the mother. The sages interpret the line, you must surely send away the mother, as follows. You may not take the mother bird while she is on her young. However, if you do, you must surely send away the mother afterward. Therefore, the Torah gives a commandment for a person to follow if he transgresses the prohibition, and he is not given malkut for his transgression. Therefore, if a person takes the mother while she is on her young, he simply sends her away now, thereby correcting the transgression, and he is not given malkut. Rabbi Yehuda, however, interprets the verse to mean, you may not take the mother while she is on her young, rather you must first send away the mother. According to Rabbi Yehuda, the Torah does not mean to give a commandment to follow after one transgresses the prohibition. It is simply a commandment to avoid transgressing the prohibition in the first place. So if a person transgresses the prohibition and takes the mother, there is no mitzvah for him to send her away later. Since there is no commandment that corrects the prohibition, he is given malkut. Now, if he cannot do the mitzvah and thereby correct the transgression according to the Chachamim, he does receive malkut for the transgression. For example, if a person took a mother bird from on her young and the mother died before he could send it away, he receives malkut for taking it, again, even according to the Chachamim. And that is end of Mishnah Daled. Mishnah begins, HaKoreach kocha berosho. If someone makes a bald spot on his head by tearing his hair out of grief over someone who died, the Torah in the book of Dvarim, chapter 14, verse 1, forbids a person who is mourning someone's death to express his grief by pulling out his hair. V'mekif pe'at rosho, or someone rounds the edges of his head by cutting off the sideburns, what we call pe'ot. The Torah forbids this in Vayikra, chapter 19, verse 27. It is referred to as rounding the edges of the head because when a person removes his sideburns, he leaves a circle of skin without hair, stretching from behind his ear to his forehead. V'mashchit pat zekano, or someone shaves his beard in such a manner that he destroys the edges of his beard. This is in the book of Vayikra, chapter 19, verse 27, and the Mishnah will later define this. V'asoret tzchita achat al hamet, or someone makes a cut in his skin out of grief over someone who died. Just as a person may not express grief by tearing out his hair, he may not express grief by making cuts in his skin. For any of these transgressions, chayav, a person is liable to malkut. The Mishnah discusses whether a person can be given more than one set of malkut for these transgressions. Sarat srita achat al chamisha metim. If someone made one cut because of his grief over 5 different people who died, or chamesh sritot al met echad, or he made 5 cuts because of his grief over one person who died, chayav al kol achat ve'echad, he is liable to Makkot for each of the 5. So in both of these cases, he receives 5 sets of Makkot. Although he has transgressed only a single prohibition, each cut or the grief over each death is a separate transgression and is punished with its own set of Makkot. Usually, if a person transgresses the same prohibition several times, he is given only one set of Makkot, unless he is given a separate warning for each transgression, as we will learn in Mishnah 7 and 8. Here, though, the Gemara in Makkot, page 20b, derives from a verse in the Torah, the Makkot is given for each transgression. Ala rosh time, for rounding the hair on the head by cutting off the sideburns, a person can receive 2 sets of Makkot, achat mikan v'achat mikan, one for cutting off the sideburn on this side, and one for cutting off the sideburn on that side. Each one is considered a separate transgression. Now, the Mishnah earlier mentioned the prohibition against destroying the edges off one's beard. The Mishnah defines what these edges are. Vada Zakan, again, we're going to be explaining it like the art school elucidated based on the Rav. There are different authorities, different explanations in the various authorities. Vada Zakan, for destroying the edges of the beard, a person can receive 5 sets of Makkot because the beard has 5 edges. Shtai mikan, 2 edges on this side of the face, one below the ear where the cheekbone meets the jaw, and one where the jaw meets the chin. Ushtai mikan, and 2 edges on that side of the face, one below the ear where the cheekbone meets the jaw, and one where the jaw meets the chin. V'chat milmata, and one on the bottom of the face, meaning the chin itself. If someone destroys all 5 edges, he receives 5 sets of Makkot. Rabbi Eliezer Omer, but Rabbi Eliezer says, Im nalu kulo ka'achat, if he destroys the entire beard at once, thereby destroying all 5 edges at the same time, and echad is liable to only 1 set of Makkot. Rabbi Eliezer holds that all 5 edges of the beard are considered the same prohibition. So when a person destroys all 5 edges at one time as one continuous act, he has simply transgressed the same prohibition 5 times, for which he receives only a single set of Makkot. The same dispute applies to the sideburns. While the Tana Kama said that cutting off each sideburn transgresses a separate prohibition, Rabbi Eliezer holds that both sideburns are considered the same prohibition. The Mishnah clarifies what kind of shaving is considered destroying the beard. Ve'eno chayav ad shitlenu betar. He is not liable for destroying the edges of the beard unless he cuts them with a razor. One is forbidden to shave the beard with a tool that meets 2 conditions. It is typically used for shaving, and it destroys the hair, meaning it cuts the hair at the root. So a razor, referring to a straight blade, is the only tool that fits this description. No other tool meets both of these conditions. For example, scissors are used for shaving, but they do not destroy the hair. Other tools, such as tweezers or a plane, destroy the hair, but are not typically used for shaving. Therefore, it is permitted to shave the beard with any tool besides a razor, as the Gemara says on Masechet Makkot, page 21a. And again, the Torah forbids destroying 5 edges of the beard. We explained it based on the Rav's explanation of these 5 edges. Other authorities interpret them differently. Since it is a matter of dispute exactly what part of the beard this prohibition applies to, one should not shave any part of his face with the razor, as Itferet Yisrael writes in his commentary on the Mishnah. Another opinion, Rabbi Eliezer Omer, but Rabbi Eliezer says, Afilu likto b'malket o hitni chayav, even if he removed the hair with tweezers or a plane, he is liable. A plane is a tool used to smooth wood, and the commentators explain, although the sages hold that these tools are not typically used for shaving, Rabbi Eliezer maintains that they are typically used for shaving, and since they cut the hair down to the root, they may not be used. The sages say they're not typical. Rabbi Eliezer says that it is typical, and since it cuts down to the root, it is not allowed according to Rabbi Eliezer. The Rav does tell us, Rabbi Eliezer, the Halakha does not follow the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer. And that is the Nabotai of today's Mishna Yomi. Baruch Adonai Leolam. Amen. Amen.